afternoon. Paul Andrigo here, realestatepodcastshow.com. Today I've got some really fun, exciting guests to join me. These are people that are in the real estate business that have reached out, and we're going to be talking today about everything from real estate to technology to the Canadian US connection that we have here, and just a few things we're talking about behind the scenes. But we're going to be going through all that stuff. So I'm going to leave it up to either one of you to get started and sort of say hello to everybody, let them know who you guys are.
Sure. Well, thanks, Paul, for having us. I'm Patricia Andre Wiltons, and this is my brother, Tony Prasad. And we are real estate agents in the Tampa Bay area with Trans States Realty. And, been doing that for quite some time, but saw the need for a little bit of social media help. And then the Unengaged Agent was born. But Tony could fill you in a little bit on that.
Yeah, so a little bit of my background. I've been an agent for a decade now, but prior to that, I worked in the television industry. I was editor and producer for a national television show, and when I made the switch to real estate, I saw the need for agents to be making more videos, being online, trying to grow their social media presence, and I figured I could help. We there's I think like 16,000 agents in Tampa Bay area, and only like a small handful are just making videos. So it's like,
Right.
Is that current? Is that what you're saying? About 16,000 agents in your market?
Oh,
Yeah?
sure. Yeah. Or more.
Yeah.
Or
I think
more.
it might
Yeah.
be more now, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely a growing city, in an
Okay.
area, but
Interesting. No, I thought for some reason the numbers would be a lot larger. I hear, whenever I hear U.S. numbers, they always sort of just eclipse anything here in Toronto. Like anything I hear, hundreds of thousands in some states. So yeah, so
Okay.
16,000 that seems pretty reasonable. But as you're saying, Tony, there was sort of a need for something, and obviously because of your background, you saw it. That's a great thing.
Yeah, and it started, also making short form videos for us, and those were the TikToks, Musically, and through that we're able to kind of reconnect with the community. So part of my background also is I used to work in the nonprofit field. I've been a realtor for quite some time, since the late 90s, but in between, I'd worked with the nonprofit Boys and Girls Club, and I did a lot with the community outreach, and I feel like this is all coming full circle with us, with being on social media, being in real estate. We're able to kind of localize our content, connect with the community, and we'll get into that a little bit more and how we do that. But it's a whole nother way of networking, a modern way or digital way of networking.
Well, that's a great way to start. I always like to start in the very sort of storytelling format of the where you guys are from, how you got to real estate, what stops you made in between, because if anybody tells you that they decided at 8 years old to be a realtor, they're lying, because none of us did. It just sort of was a transition, and no offense to us, but we've also got to be a bit lighter, a bit more relaxed about what we do. Again, even if it was for me, and this was I was in the fitness industry for 10 years, and then jumped into real estate. How they connect, I can tell you a story, but it's just how it works in life. So like, either one of you want to start where your backgrounds are from, where you grew up, where how you got here?
We missed the best part. We're also from Canada.
Well, yeah, I wanted to let you guys bring that part up.
Yeah.
So you were born and raised here?
Well, born partially raised there. Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. Yeah, tell the story.
I moved here in 83. So I was 9, Tony was 5. And so, that is home, but we've also been here long enough that this is definitely home as well.
So 83, you moved from Canada. Okay.
From Cambridge. Right. Yeah.
From Cambridge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just there last weekend, actually.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've spent every October in my teenage years, pretty much late teenage years, Oktoberfest, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge
Oh, how
area. Oh
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember them. I know they were. I know there's pictures, but I remember
Sure.
it was fun, but I don't remember all the details. But
That's
that's again, obviously, that's sort of great that we've got sort of the Canadian connection on
yeah,
that
and
level, and you've got family here. That's of course a great thing because there's so many people, and I called it the Toronto, Florida Express. Like that, literally,
right.
it's
Mhm.
like I've
Yeah.
got I've had the amount of people that I've sent over the years, literally planefuls of people
Mhm.
that have moved to Florida because, as you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Canada is unlivable at a certain point in the year. By November,
It's
December, it's unlivable.
I
And
mean,
not so bad all the time, but it can get,
it's
there's a
so
couple of
beautiful.
months sometimes that can get very, unlivable. So for people who don't, who just have had it,
Mhm.
seniors, a lot of my family members, the same, off to Clearwater, off to
Oh,
Florida.
nice. Yeah.
For us, we actually go to to the Disney
Oh, okay.
castle with the kids just because it's been such a big part of growing up because we don't have anything like that here. To me, that's
Right.
like that's where
Oh,
we've
sure.
gone for such a great time. So
Mhm.
that's of course where you guys are from again. So from there, from '83 on, it was basically you living in Tampa.
Living
yeah.
in Tampa in a real estate household.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so not only are Tony and I siblings, but our broker is our father.
Okay, so you don't ever leave the office.
Right, you're
The
right, we're the home
conversations never end. Oh, that's that's
I
that's
know,
good.
it
That's good
works,
and bad.
it works for Tony and I at least because we are complete opposites.
Okay.
Um,
And never
and it
growing up,
works
never thought we'd be working in
it
real
works
estate. Never
for
thought we'd be working
yeah,
together, and it
and
kind of
even
worked
our
out.
the way we work is different. Every aspect of it I think is opposite. For example, I do everything on my phone. He does everything on a desktop, double monitors, kind of those deals. But yeah, so we grew up in the household. So way back when, just riding along with our parents in the car and reading maps and going to, you know, go look up the MLS, in a book actually and see what's available at that time, right? So
Yeah,
we've
and
seen the
all the,
evolution of marketing and what you have to do, the ups and downs of it all, of course. It's not all, selling sunset or $1 million listing or anything like that all
Oh,
the
it's not all that way. It's not no, our lives are not pre-scripted
time. No.
no.
with a fixed ending. That's not how real estate works. This might be a breaking news moment
I know,
because
right?
that's exactly the point I try to make to people. Do
Mhm.
not watch reality shows and hope for reality. It's just not even there's so many curveballs. There's so many things that go wrong that are probably if there was a real deal involved, I
Mhm.
guarantee you the behind the scenes part would have been a way better show. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
the outtakes,
And then, and
yeah,
just the pressure and the stress of, what to wear and what to drive and all that fun stuff that goes, the perception that you're supposed to live up to, right?
it's
So,
yeah, you're so right, and the fact that you brought it up as well, that you guys are obviously, as well similar to me, where we
mhm,
were we were brought up in the pre-social media era,
for sure.
where it was basically fax machines,
Hmm.
um, uh, printed, everything was printed. You wanted to send something, it was a fax, and then eventually it became the email.
Hmm.
For me, it was 2000 when I was licensed, so it was still very much pre-social media. A couple of years, no
Right.
YouTube, no Facebook, but basically hey, fax me the offer. That was
Yeah.
the highest
Yeah.
level of technology. If you said that to somebody, you sounded cool. That
Yeah.
was then.
Yes.
And of course, if you say that now, it's like you'll almost have people scratching their heads, and there'll probably be some sort of
We're
a
dinosaurs.
shame
Yeah.
a shaming post about you if you tell someone to fax them an offer. But the strange thing is, and I don't know about how it works in Tampa, but in Toronto, the majority of the doctors or the dentists that I go to, guess how they still transmit information? Fax machines. And I
Yeah.
ask them why, and most of them tell me the same thing. It's because they cannot be hacked. If you
Yeah.
believe that,
Interesting.
and maybe they can, I don't know, but
Right.
probably nobody's sitting in a lab somewhere trying to figure out how to hack a dentist's fax machine. I'm guessing it's
Yeah.
just probably not that big of a deal for people. So weirdly enough, that old technology might even have, what do you call it? A superior
Sure. I mean, just like
security to what we
the
have.
landline, being in Florida with hurricanes and all that, some people suggest having a landline, so if the towers go down, you still have some form some form of communication, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, just gotta keep rolling with it. But back to why we're here talking about AI and automation. I don't know if we've hopped into that just yet,
No,
but
no, let's jump
yeah,
in.
okay.
Let's go back and forth, but let's
Yeah,
jump
yeah, we
into
can always
that.
go
Yeah,
back and
yeah.
forth. Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, so obviously, marketing's changed a lot over the years. There's between billboards, benches, and whatnot, mailers, flyers, all those things, and we found that like social media is just such an underserved market, and be able to get in front of the right audience quicker and faster and cheaper was probably a good way to put it. And we found that using AI to kind of augment these things kind of really helps out. Be able to so we use AI as an assistant, not a replacement for someone. We
mhm.
treat it as just like someone to help us brainstorm, help us come up with topics, um, help us with formatting, all these things to kind of streamline our process because so we can meet our clients and have more time with them.
Just
Um,
time in general, right? The whole thing is to save time, to get back your time and time for clients, time for your family, just time for yourself, right? So through using the tools that are given and using it, as an assistant, it definitely saves that, let's just say brainstorming time or formatting a newsletter time. It just has a lot of tips and tricks to it, and it's forever growing and changing. So we're rolling with it. But
Well,
um,
speaking of that, and when you say those words that you say, the first thing that comes to me is leverage, and this is the whole thing about leveraging time. And then and I'm going to throw in a quote because I think it's an important one about Sam
sure.
Altman.
Mhm.
Has recently said that there will be eventually a solo $1 billion business because of the way AI can help automate things and help leverage an individual. So
Mhm.
the fact that you're saying that again, it's an assistant for you, and I see it the same way for me. I don't ever want um, my the parts of my job that I like. There's certain parts of real estate that I really like. There's certain parts of podcasting, but there's also certain parts of real estate that I would automate in a second if I
Right.
could. And a lot of those things over the years, you figure out, okay, I can get this system automated. I can get my CRM to do a lot of the initial reach outs. Obviously, I don't like the idea of my clients having conversations with a bot
okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
necessarily. So I sort of have a thing where, of course, I want to have the conversation started with them. And then, of course, if it's of interest to them and they reply to me, boom, I get to jump in the conversation. So when did you guys realize? Because, of course, with real estate, I think the joke is real estate is usually 10 years behind in terms of technology. We're
Right.
not all, and again, this is just keeping it relaxed and joking about, what we do. We're not really again, all of us are not really like hardcore focused on that. So when did it sort of click for both of you or for either of you that AI and real estate sort of maybe are good sort of whatever that's called bedfellows or whatever?
Sure.
Well, I guess when ChatGPT like first came out, it was just very exciting for us. We just tried like, what can we do with this? What, and we started using it more and more in our daily, business and our daily marketing. And we're
Yeah.
like, agents need to kind of know this. Agents need
Okay.
to
Yeah, I
be
mean, that's
using
our
this.
attitude, right? Like everything
Uh,
we're learning, like they need to know, or how can we get
yeah,
this message out? And I think that's why we're doing. Sorry, Tony, I didn't mean to cut you
yeah, it's
off.
okay.
Um, this is why we're doing what we're doing is to help other people figure these little things out that can really streamline your business and save you so much time, right?
Yeah, here, we'll give you a couple examples. Like
Perfect.
recently, we had a listing, and I'm not sure. We had and the community had a HOA, and it had the HOA docs, like 80 pages, just like you know, of legal documents on the community. And I didn't want to read it all, so I just uploaded that PDF into ChatGPT. Asked it, "Hey, what are the lease restrictions? What are the pet restrictions for this community?" It went through the doc and spat out exactly what I needed. And because it's AI, you just want to verify. Like, all right, what page are these things on? It went through, said, hey, it's on this page, it's on that page. Was able to look at the original document, and it came out perfect. So it saved me so much time where before I would have to go through all 80 pages. No
Well,
one
yeah,
wants to do
that
that.
and generally speaking, for us, it's not just, and you guys have, of course, HOA agreements, but of course, you
Mhm.
have inspection reports as well. I'm sure that
Yeah.
you have to read on a regular basis. We have status certificates here, which back in the 80s, I believe they were called estoppels.
Mhm.
If you remember that term
Mhm.
from the old days, or I don't know when they changed to status, but for condos, there's status certificates, and they're about 100 pages deep with
Yeah.
again so much stuff. So it's very similar to that. So I like the idea of being able to sort of say, give me the hot points, give me the restrictions, as you said.
Yeah.
Um, I guess the other things we always look for is I don't know if the term is also used in the States, but special assessments.
Mhm.
Those are like the
Yeah.
giant red flag of every condo. If there's a special assessment, you want to know what it is so that you're not sort of diving into a swamp.
Right. So
You don't know what's in there.
right, exactly. So it
Yeah.
saves that. But it's just the fact of being able to upload, just the knowing of that you can upload a PDF to ChatGPT, just little
Or an
things
Excel
like that.
file. Yeah.
Um, to
Um,
where, can you drop a link in there too? I think,
yeah, you can
right?
drop a link, drop an Excel file, drop a picture, and have
Or
it kind of process all these information that
right.
might be helpful for what you're doing for. If you want to do a clean market report and you want to sort through the data, it's a great assistant for that.
Hmm. And
Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah, and then just little, other ways that we've used it too recently was we went to a builder thing and Tony took some notes on a brochure, came back, got on ChatGPT, but on his phone, and he voice texted his notes, and it generated this beautiful bullet point outline of everything that we wanted to present to our buyers going forward, that we were able to generate that in a few minutes and then get it out the door right away.
Yeah, we just copy and paste it right into our email
Mhm.
and have it emailed to all our clients within minutes
Yeah.
of,
So
of the meeting.
for me, it's every day is something new. So to me, that was so cool. When I saw him do that, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. But and we're learning. This right here is Restream. I've never seen Restream before, so
Oh,
we're
really?
all
Okay.
learning
All
from
right.
each other.
Yeah.
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 No, this. I mean, Tony might have. He's more the techie guy, but
Yeah, we've
yeah,
experimented with a couple different
yeah.
ones, but this I think we've looked at this, but yeah, this is interesting. I do like the capabilities of the multiple stream
Mhm. Mhm.
channels.
Yeah, you know what? And I told you even before we started, so this is also one of these behind the scenes moments that this is
Yeah.
something that I'm still experimenting with. I could not explain it to a 5-year old,
Yeah.
the multi-streaming thing. But for what I do understand, however, is that of course if I was just to be the main promoter of the podcast, it's sort of, to me, that's 1x. But if the three of us are promoting the podcast, multi-streaming, as you said, Patricia, on TikTok, wherever it might be
Oh
going,
yeah. Behind the
then
scenes
then it
right
doesn't.
now. Yeah.
It's not even just 3x. I think it probably is 10. And then, of course, if anybody else decides that they want to share something or extend it, then of course, then we're getting into possibly 10 turning into 100.
Correct.
All out of our control. And this is one thing I've embraced fully about podcasting is none of the output is under anybody's control. Even the people who are at the top of the podcast world, there's no control over what they do. The only thing we can do is basically put out hopefully something interesting, maybe educate people along the way, give them some reasons to tune in
And I think that's
and reach out to you. Yeah.
I think that's a good point too. It's just like, we're learning as we go. So it's learning and turning around and telling someone, how to kind of, right? And I think that's important to keep in mind that not everybody knows everything and that status level, even followers, people can buy followers, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think you had mentioned slightly on virality. I think it was before we started, but
Yep. Yep.
when you're making these videos, the goal is not, I mean, of course, it's beautiful if it goes viral in the direction that you want it to, but just any random video and bringing in an audience, it's nice for the views, but is it helping you in what your end goal is? Our direct audience with the unengaged agent is we want to help real estate agents. So,
Okay.
we're just kind of zeroed in on that, niching it down. And then through, you're excited about the streams going out in different directions. And our other excitement is when we post one video, we use repurpose.io. And what
Yeah.
that does is it sends all the videos one video to all the different platforms. And Tony can break that down a little bit. But
Yeah, I saw you now ahead. Do you also use repurpose.io?
I did nod my head because I know about it. It's a Toronto company, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, they're based here, and I think I've toyed with it, but I also decided for me,
Mhm.
because I've gotten better at this as I get older. If I can't understand the full capability of it, it's like me driving a car, like a race car that I got no business driving. For me, I know there's so much. There are so many things it can do.
Mhm.
Right.
I haven't yet figured it out, but I'd love to hear you mention what you found, Tony, because for me, that's how it's like when a friend recommends a movie or a song or whatever. So when I have a fellow agent or somebody in the business recommend something, to me it always sort of gives me a reason to sort of maybe rethink it, see if it's something
Mhm.
that I'm interested in. So what's your experience with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's obviously one of our main goals for an engaged agent is taking all that extra information, all those new tools, all those things that are kind of going out there, and like, why is it relevant for real estate agents? What part of it is relevant for agents? And we use repurpose .io as one of our main distribution things. So what we do is it allows us to upload the video to say we'll go with YouTube. We'll
Yeah.
put one video to YouTube, and it will automatically go and put that video on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and I'm sure I'm
Pinterest
missing a
and
few,
X and yeah,
Pinterest and
mhm.
yeah, X and
LinkedIn,
all
yeah.
those platforms without me doing a thing. So that's just a game changer for us because we used to make a video and then go through and post it on each and every platform,
And it
and it was so
removes the
time.
watermark from there, and it carries over your captions and hashtags, and cuts it off if YouTube has a certain character limit. It's just, again, that saving time stuff. So I don't know if you post to multiple platforms, and it's not that we're trying to be like here, there, and everywhere, but the
Mhm.
importance of it is that there's a different audience, different client on these different platforms. Not everybody's on Facebook, not everybody's on Instagram, right? So getting your little bits out there consistently, right? And
Yeah.
it's not an instant anything. It can be, you can get that call, but most of the times you're growing your community, you're growing your business, and over time it makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you that. Um,
Yeah, and it's such a time saver to have that one video go on all the platforms.
mhm,
And then we also use another automation software called Zapier to take that same video and put it on our website
mhm.
and also on our Google My Business page. So that one video is all of a sudden everywhere. And if people want to follow on their favorite platform, we're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're
You
not
know what?
focused on the views, right? We're not focused on, you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
But same video across all the platforms will perform completely differently. One could have, 5,000 views, the other one could have 20. So it's just
And
to kind of
it's
get it out of your head, like, what's wrong with this video? Why didn't it perform? Because I think people put so much time and energy into creating and making it perfect, that gets in your way when you start seeing the numbers and if it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense, right? So it's just keep
yeah,
making, keep providing value, keep bringing whatever you want to bring to the table. But it's a smart tool
and
to use.
yeah, the important thing is just to speak to your audience. Find out who
Yeah.
your audience is, wherever very specific area. Talk to them. What is important to them? What's going on in the community, and become the mayor of that community. Like just the if someone wants a question asked about the community, you're the go-to person. So it's important to like localize your profile, localize your content, and just narrow down what who you're speaking with.
Well, I find, and maybe you guys understand this as well, where you are in your city, obviously, when it comes to things like farming,
Mhm.
and it comes to geographical reach, obviously, there's a challenge for those of us in real estate to sort of um, to keep us from sabotaging ourselves by like
Mhm.
sort of by overreaching. And the fact is, if we do want to be everyone's best friend, if we do want to be the mayor of every town, um, it's just not possible. I mean, of course, if you've got endless, if you've got endless means of, if you've got endless amounts of money where you can put yourself as the mayor of every one of those places, it's great. But again, I can tell you after, and I'm just going into my 25th year in 2025, I there's no way I could figure out how to be, um,
The
what do you
go-to.
call it? Yeah, the go-to, or the, and I think I just sort of recently reminded myself to sort of, just write it down and just remind myself, big fish, small pond, not
Yeah.
not small fish in a big pond. I don't think anything ends up going well for the latter. So it's
Mhm.
big fish in a small pond. If I can be the big, sort of the, not the big fish, but just again the person who's reaching out to people who they know about, and the podcast was part of this, and
Mhm.
literally, I had no idea what was going to happen. Again, completely in the dark. I literally, my joke is, everything felt like I was like screaming into the void in the beginning, and I
Mhm.
was literally going to call the podcast Into the Void, just
Yes.
because it just seems so
I was
appropriate.
gonna say
Because
avoid the noise. Yeah.
who the hell's listening? Why would anybody want to hear any of this stuff besides me and three other people? I don't get
Mhm.
it. But then I get a phone call. 3 months in, I get a phone call from somebody in BC that's listening to the podcast,
Mhm.
and they've got family here in Ontario where I am. And next thing I know, I'm selling a house based on a podcast conversation. I was absolutely blown away that, 3 months in, again, maybe 25 episodes, not crazy numbers at all, but
Yeah.
just the fact that the right people were listening was automatically like verification. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't care if 25 people or 250 people or 250,000 people listen, but if
Right.
the right people are listening, and for this podcast, it might be agents, but it also might be people, interested in Tampa Bay real estate, possibly Toronto owners thinking about Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
So whatever reason they jump in and listen, and that, a future podcast might be just a Toronto to Tampa Bay real estate comparison, like that kind of stuff for me
That'd be
is
And,
fun.
and
I
that
love
that
those.
Uh,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
touches on this subject a little bit too, because we're here with you as the unengaged agent, right? For real
Yeah.
estate, social media marketing, all that fun stuff. But for Trans States Realty, our handle is Pasco Tampa Vibes. So
Okay.
we could totally do, that one on just this different interview, different format, but it just,
Absolutely. Yeah.
same
Yep.
same
Yep.
thing. But
Yeah. It'll
back
be
to
either. Yeah. It'll. Yep.
how we connected, I believe, was through TikTok initially, or Facebook Reels, one of those two. And it was like, oh, he's from Toronto, oh, we're from Cambridge, and kind of making those connections. But
Yep.
again, that's what it is. It's just being on social media, and that's how we connected. I mean, there's so many real estate agents, right, that we could go through the directory and find whoever we need to find. But
Hmm.
yeah,
it's
and social media is becoming the new search platform. I mean, more and more people are just searching for things, in TikTok, in YouTube, as opposed to Google. So they're, you know, finding agents who they want to work with, finding, cities they want to live in, all through these like platforms. So it's really important to kind of,
And it's who you
think of
connect
that.
with. It's kinda who you
Yeah.
connect with, the personality, the style, not everyone works with everyone. Not everyone's gonna be the expert in that area. Back to, like farming and localizing. Um, what I wanted to mention on that was just through social media, being in your local Facebook groups, answering questions. And it doesn't have to be all real estate. It could be, what's the best Italian restaurant? Someone wants to know, I just moved here. What's the best Italian restaurant? You
Oh,
chime in.
you're
And
absolutely right. You talk about real estate, you'll get 20% engagement. You talk
that's
about the best pizza shop,
Mhm.
explode. And
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
just how it works. So for
yeah,
me, the rule, if there is a rule at all, I don't know, I'm still working it out, but I
Mhm.
think it's 80/20. So as long as I'm talking about music, events, pizza shops, burger
mhm,
places, um, things like that.
Yeah.
If that's 80 and then the rest is again 20, to me, it just seems to be where you're right. Social media, if you take it out, if you take the word social out of it,
Mhm.
and it's just business media, I don't think it has the same reach. Maybe you can correct me there. I don't know.
No, totally. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess that would probably put like LinkedIn more in that category, sort of, right? Where it's not
true.
as social. But yeah, it's just a whole different way. And then once you start, going places, or you're at that favorite pizza shop and you tag it, or you hashtag, Tampa pizza, all that is just localizing your content. So more and more of that, your page starts zeroing in locally, right? And then it's relatable. So, Tony likes comics. He's got Marvel behind him. Somebody that loves that might connect. You're a fitness guy. I love art. I love music. So, it's things like that that differentiate you from everyone else. And I think, again, through video. And
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, people are so used to just trying to only show the professional side and not showing that personal side is a hard balance when you're making so much videos.
Mhm.
But um, that but I don't know how things can, but things are changing very fast down here with with non rulings and whatnot and broker buy agreements. So being able to make that connection, make through video, through um, social media, it's a must now. It's
Mhm.
one of those things where if you're not making videos, you're not putting yourself out there, you're not going to be able to keep up with the ones who are.
Yeah, no, and I do not want to do a podcast about buyer agency. I don't think I should be doing one. And I to me, it's like a powder keg. But I'll say one thing and then I'll stop. Is that in all the Facebook groups that I'm part of, which is many of them are the U.S. ones, the
Mhm.
conversations happening about what happens now, the buyers this and the buyers that. It's been like that in Canada since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like we've always had these conversations, and I'm seeing them happening in front of me in real time, and I'm
Okay.
like, am I in a time machine? I feel like I'm in a time
You
machine.
just go backwards. Yeah.
Like this isn't how you guys have worked before. You haven't had separate buyer agency agreements before. You haven't had to explain how much they're paying. Like it's all brand new. I'm like my mind was blown. And again, I'm not about to put my toe in any of
Yeah.
those conversations because
Heated.
they get so heated.
Mhm.
And I almost want to say, like, I can't believe you guys are going through this just now, but I suppose it is something that literally has upended the system. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's my two
Yeah. It's a
cents
whole
on
new
that one.
world.
Yeah, it's a whole new world for sure. So the fact that you guys are able to, of course, help agents and give the background, and again with Tony's background and Patricia with yours,
Mhm.
and the fact that you guys were in real estate before the technology, improvements, so you understand what a hard working day was.
Sure.
I'd say in the year 2000 or before, it involved pages, and I still have them in my bookshelf, pages and pages of cold calls,
Mhm.
dealing with people on that level that did not want to have anybody call them.
Right.
And I had some of the most unusual experiences from those phone calls. The most dramatic one was calling someone and then the person saying they're dead. Did
Oh.
you kill them?
Mm.
Oh,
I
oh
got this.
man.
I got this question, and then I got the next question. I'm like, this is like year one.
Oh.
I'm as ambitious and as green as you could be, and I'm getting that question, and all the blood left my face and my body. I was completely like, are you? Is this a joke? Are you serious? I think he was serious. Like they're dead. Did you kill them?
Oh my gosh.
And it was okay. You know what? I think I might want to look at it. And it was just at the point there where it was cold calls, it was mailings,
Mhm.
fax machines, that kind of stuff. And then I think just little after that, email starting to pick up. I don't know when email started to pick up more traction, but it seemed to be people were responding more to that. And thankfully, I was able to get away from it. But you guys, is what I like about you guys. What you're doing is that you're basically bringing, every agent into sort of the modern age with the stuff that you're talking about. And I was just looking at some of your recent posts about, simplify your HOA document, unlock your
Mhm.
success, video tips for agents, leveraging AI. And again, leveraging AI isn't even just a real estate thing. I think even real
Oh
estate,
yeah.
Yeah,
even
and
like a lot of people outside of real estate that I have, like really amazing clients of mine who are big in the AI world.
Hmm.
They love having these conversations about what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
and some of them will be watching. Probably some of them will comment as well about
Well,
this.
I
Yeah.
hope so. And
yeah,
we, we do have a pre-recorded webinar on AI and automation that Tony can put the link in the chat, maybe. And also,
yeah,
from yeah, sorry.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was just go to the engageagent.com
Hmm.
and all the links are there.
Okay.
But the important thing I feel with like AI, and especially say you want to use one of those digital avatars or using one of those digital voices, it's kind of good as just maybe filler content. But if you're a real estate agent, you need your own face, your own voice out there, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one showing the client homes or selling their homes, and
I couldn't agree
you don't
more.
want
You're right. It's so important that
to.
it is, as you said, it's background noise.
Hmm.
A fake avatar, and I've seen them again. I know there's since not 2018, because there was me and maybe three other people doing a real estate podcast. There was really nobody doing it.
Oh,
The pandemic hit, and then everybody and their mother-in-law jumped in and had a podcast, and now some of them are so. Um, they're so incredibly overproduced that it literally feels like I'm watching an HGTV show with all the scrolls and all the images and everything
yeah.
that comes
Yeah.
along. I get that, of course, that probably gets some views. I'm not sure if it's the right kind or the wrong kind. Again, totally out of my
I mean,
specialty. I don't know any of that. Yeah.
part of it is even cost, right? So speaking, of newer agents, this is something you can do for free, right? You
Yeah.
set your phone up, you hit record, and you post. So it does not have to be anything overly produced or to perfection, right? Um,
Yeah,
and,
you
and
don't need specific camera mic.
and I think
Um,
people like to see, like this is my cup. I hold it up all the time, but it's Hot Mess Express, right? So
Yeah. Exactly.
it just being your authentic self, and it doesn't happen overnight. Tony and I are not this. Like we're not used to being in front of
mm.
the camera or talking on a live podcast, But over time and through consistency, it's definitely gotten easier.
Yeah, and
But
you can use those AI tools to kind of just assist you. Like we'll train our AI assistants to kind of talk in our tone. We fed it scripts that we've written, and fed it listing descriptions that we've wrote, and saying, "Hey, this is the style we would like. This is how we sound. Make whatever
mhm,
we can in that type of tone." And it's done a really great job of it. So we can be able to like not say, "Hey, I want a new script on down payment options," in my tone. It can give it to me.
Hmm.
Um,
right.
and it's one of those things where, um, definitely like it's important to keep your own voice when you're doing using AI, but use AI as much to your advantage to multiply your voice and get it out there as much as possible.
Or just
You know what,
freshen it up
guys?
a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Again, everything that we've talked about today, and again, I know that we could go on, but I also realize this is a real estate podcast, and we've got about a 30-minute attention span,
Oh,
and that's
true, true,
and
true.
that's still, and this is nothing to do with me or you, because again, I always love the to be continued. Again, just like
Mhm.
those old TV shows from the
Yeah.
70s,
Well,
there was
next
always
week,
Yeah,
the to be
right? Yeah.
continued. Yeah, the next segment. To me, that always gives it more. But I wanted to thank you both for taking the time today to join me
Thank
sure.
from
you. We appreciate it.
Tampa right over here to Toronto. And of course, I know you've already said to hi to your Cambridge people, but make sure that your Cambridge people, every single one sees the podcast and make sure it
Yeah.
gets out there, because
Of course.
I want to be famous in Cambridge one day.
Yeah.
So
There you
this
go.
might be the moment where I get to be
Yeah.
famous,
There
because
you go.
I've sold properties all over Ontario, including there. So and again, that's the beauty of having Ontario. Of course, you've got your Ontario license. Sorry, you've got your Toronto license. Then you pay your Ontario license, and then you've
Mhm.
got your Canada license. I don't sell outside of Ontario. To me, that's way too overreaching. I don't know
Mhm.
what's going on in Alberta.
Right,
I do know
right.
what's
This is
going on
big.
in Ontario. So definitely make sure that you guys send your Cambridge people
Oh,
a
we
copy
will.
of this,
Will
and
do. Will
let's
do.
at least shut the servers down in Cambridge.
Yes, and
as
sending
far
you
as
more people to Florida our way.
Yeah,
well,
we're right.
that's
We're right. We're
absolutely.
outside of Tampa Bay. We're on the northern end, Pasco County. So we're right north. We grew up in Tampa, but we're right north
Yeah.
of it. And
Actually, not only do I send people to Tampa and to Orlando on a regular basis, I've actually flown referral checks up to you guys, down to you guys over the years because of the fact that I go there sometimes 2 or 3 times a year. So it was around the time where one of my referrals from them closed. I had a referral check for them. I said, well, rather than put it in the mail, let me be more efficient and actually fly it down to you and stick around for a
how
week. And
cool.
it's
Yeah.
always, to me, it's always the best to show up at your office
So it
with the
didn't get
check.
stuck in the mail, right?
No, well, that's the other problem. I'm paranoid about losing checks in the mail. So if it can't be done electronically, thank goodness most checks are sent that way.
Sure.
I hope I can definitely, hopefully we'll be working on some business together where I actually can get a referral check in my suitcase, bring it down to
Yeah,
you
and then
guys,
we'll
and
meet up. Yeah.
we'll do a live podcast next
Of
time I'm
That'd
in
be
course.
awesome.
Oh, I'm
Tampa
prepared.
or
I'm telling
Orlando.
you. Like, look, I'm prepared in my purse. I'm ready to go. I've got my 2
Oh, you
mics.
got your
I
mobile
mean, that's
set.
my
Yeah,
goal. I
yeah.
haven't really busted out yet, but that's the goal, just to take advantage of every moment wherever. And
I've got though,
just,
yeah, I've got the
you know,
mobile kit always ready to
yeah,
go in
just
case someone wants to record in a, at a conference. Because for me, that's one of the most fun things I love about
sure.
Mhm.
coming down to Florida is you guys have the best conferences. It's hands down because basically it's the conference. There's Disney. There's the beach.
It's a
Literally, like,
win-win for all. It's a
yeah,
win-win,
no,
right?
the family. If I drag them down there for a conference, they don't even know what I was doing. They're just
Right.
having such a
Oh
good
my
time
God.
otherwise, and that's the point.
That's too
It's
fun.
supposed to be
Can I
fun for all of us. Yeah,
can I add one thing, if you don't mind, that I
please do, please
totally
do.
forgot to mention? One of the main things that we love about what we're doing is with ChatGPT and Canva is making 30 days worth of content like in 30 minutes, and all,
Okay,
again, it's all generated through that, but all that's pre-recorded. It's on that link, or Tony said uengageagent.com,
okay,
and it's right there.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Obviously,
you.
in the scrolling script is how to reach out to them, and of course in the description there'll be that information. But thank you both so
Thank
much for joining
you.
me for the I'm calling this the fall kickoff podcast. This is like the
Nice.
first one I've recorded for technically whatever it is. The 21st is fall. I don't care. It's Canada.
It's getting
It's
there.
not,
It's getting
it's,
there.
it's
I heard it.
already below in our degrees. It's below 15 degrees in the
I know.
morning.
I was cold
That's
last
cold.
week. They were
That's cold
laughing at
for
me,
us.
but I was cold. I was
That
cold
is
last
cold. Yeah, that's cold for us too because it's been about 30. And again, 30 Celsius. It's been about 30 Celsius here for the last couple of months, and I love that heat. But once it starts to sort of dip, and then it starts the morning start cold, and the fog is on the car, that's when
Right.
you know it's sort of that
The
season is
time.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us
Yeah.
Hey,
on.
thank you
Thanks.
guys so
Have
much.
a
And again,
great
I'm
one.
looking forward to hear. Yeah, you too. And I'm looking
Thank
forward to
you.
hearing about your experiences doing this multi-stream
Sure.
Yeah,
experiment with this whole thing
yeah.
with
Yeah, I don't even know
Restream.
where we
Uh,
are right now. We're
We
across
are
the
live on
distances,
Instagram right
right?
now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So then keep me posted on how it works. And again, I'd love to make sure we do it again, maybe even a bit more organized if
Sure.
if
Yeah, yeah.
necessary.
Awesome.
But